I used to give a workshop on doing business in India at Caltech. And one of the things I said was that you can ask me any question. Don't be embarrassed to ask me a question that you think might be inappropriate. It's perfectly fine. Okay? I've been asked all kinds of things and I'm happy to answer anything you want. Okay? All right, so I'll ask a question. Which is the most populous country in the world today? India is, right? Now, is that a reason why you should go to India? No, absolutely. Okay. India has 1.4 billion people, okay, and its population exceeded that of China last year only because China lost 15 million people in the pandemic. Okay. Most of those Indians will not buy your product because they can't afford it. Right? So you don't think that you have a market of 1.4 billion. You probably have a much smaller market, but if it's 200 or 300 million, that's nothing to sneeze at, right? So depending on your product, we can define the scope of the market for you. India has changed dramatically. So you said you visited India. How many years ago was that? 10 years ago, yeah. If you go to India today, you will find that the airports are much nicer, and you will find that the traffic is much worse. Okay? Many other things have changed. Generally, it's getting better. The logistics of transportation is getting better. Okay, I'm just waiting for my slides to come up. So, what else has changed? Okay, how many of you are exporting to China right now? Okay, so there are many differences between the two countries. Okay? In fact, I tell people, whatever you learn in China, you have to unlearn in India. Okay? First of all, your material, your collateral can be in English. India has 24 official languages. Fortunately, the government doesn't require you to translate your material into all 24 of them. Okay? When you export to Canada, you have to translate to French, right? You export to Korea, you export to so many, Japan, you have to translate. Your American collateral will work just fine to get you started in India. Okay? That's a big, big advantage. Okay? The other big advantage is that most Indians who will buy your product are on Facebook, they are on WhatsApp. They can get access to Twitter or X. Okay? Most upper middle class Indians have relatives living in the US. And every time I go back to India, one of my suitcases is full of gifts for my family and friends. So I take products that are not yet available in India and they start saying, oh, I like those pistachios. Okay? Or I like those MAC cosmetics and can we start buying those in India, right? So there are 4 million people of Indian origin living in the US. Some of them are very prominent, the CEO of Google, the CEO of Microsoft, an occupant in the White House, the vice president's wife, the former vice president, right? So there's plenty of people in prominent positions in the US who are all relatively recent immigrants, okay? Most of them are either first generation immigrants or kids of first generation immigrants, right? So they have strong connections back to the home country. Yes, sir?
So shipping and customs from US to India is pretty expensive. For the supplement industry, is made in India becoming more acceptable?
Yeah, that's a great question. So he's talking about shipping costs going to India, right? It's on the other side of the planet, so it takes a little while for goods to get there, even by ship. Okay? So currently, there is no direct route. When your container will change from one ship to another in Hong Kong or Shanghai or Singapore. That's going to change next year. They're going to build those direct shipping lanes from Los Angeles, from Houston, and from New York. So it will get more smooth, it will get faster, maybe a little bit cheaper. Okay? And your second question, sir? Sorry?
Made in India.
Yeah, made in India, yes. So you see this in every country today, right? We want everybody to make products in the US, India wants everybody to make products in India, but I'd say the vast majority of nutraceuticals of American origins being sold in India are being exported from the US. Okay? I have one example from GNC that we can go through, but let's quickly listen to a little bit of Michael. So we're going to run you through a very quick video from one of our clients who visited India. How many of you here have been to India? Okay. And are you selling product in India right now, sir? No? Okay. What about you?
We don't sell products.
You don't sell? I see. Okay. Okay. So here you will get to see the experience of Michael, our client from the East Coast. If you click on it, it should start up.
Hi everyone, my name is Anshika with Amritt, and I'm here with novelist and businessman Michael Wendroff. Can you introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. Yeah. Michael Wendroth, and I am a global marketing strategist. And now I am also an author. My debut novel, What Goes Around, was recently published and is being translated into a number of different languages. But I got involved with Gunjan a few years ago when I was working for a large personal care company, and we were exploring entry into India with a number of products there. And we worked together on consumer research, studying what the consumer needs and wants were in the category in India, as well as we were being helped with manufacturing possibilities, as well as with potential distributors for our products. So it was a very good relationship, good productive relationship.
Awesome. So, can you tell me about your first business trip to India? How was the experience and where in India did you go?
Um, First time I went to India, it was fantastic. I mean, is really fascinating, and I went three different places. I went in the north to Delhi. In the center of the country, I went to Mumbai, and I also went down south to Hyderabad. And they were all, very different. And, I'd say that was one of the key things I learned from going to India is just how diverse the country is. And whether, you're talking about the cultures or the languages or the socioeconomics of the people, it is very diverse. And, tell you the truth, that does present a marketing challenge. But if you can customize your message to the individual regional preferences, you can have a huge impact in the market.
This was a $500 million company, and so they could do that regional customization. For most of you, that won't be necessary. Okay? What did we see from that video? We heard about the diversity. We heard about how the country is fascinating. If you travel to India, and most of you will not need to because we can do that work for you. Okay? But we certainly welcome the opportunity to have any of you visit India, either before you sign a deal or after you start selling your products there. Okay, so the country is more diverse than all of Europe. Okay? Keep that in mind. So if you visit Europe, you don't typically say I went to Europe. You say I went to Spain or Portugal or France or Italy. Right? India has that kind of diversity. So we think of the old India, the Taj Mahal. Right? The new India is modern. Okay, it's got fantastic architecture. Now it has great roads. Its airports are improving. So what you might have read in the New York Times about India is no longer true. New York Times still writes about India. They love to write about Maharajas even though they haven't existed for 50 years. Okay? India has changed dramatically. Okay? And that is that new India that is buying product from you. The old India still exists. Okay? But it's the new India that's buying products from you. Okay? So American brands in particular do very well. Okay? I've listed some of the markets here. I'll skip through some of this quickly. Here's a GNC video.
Hi guys, GNC is നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഒരു പുതിയ ഓഫർ ഇൻട്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യുകയാണ്. മന്ത്ലി നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ആവശ്യമായ 3 പ്രോഡക്ട്സ് ജസ്റ്റ് $299 ആണ്. GNCയുടെ വേ ആൻഡ് 100 gram ക്രിയേറ്റിൻ കാൽഷ്യം സിട്രേറ്റ്. കാൽഷ്യം വേണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഏതെങ്കിലും വെൽനസ് സപ്ലിമെന്റ്സ്, ഫിഷ് ഓയിൽ, മൾട്ടിവിറ്റമിൻ ഏത് വേണോ ആവട്ടെ GNCയുടെ സൈറ്റിൽ കയറി ചൂസ് ചെയ്ത് പർച്ചേസ് ചെയ്യുക.
So this was a customer of the GNC product endorsing it, and GNC puts this up on their Facebook and social media. Okay? Now, I'm sure you couldn't understand him very well. He was speaking in an accent that's relevant to the audience in India. Okay? We have one more video, right? Okay. Is this being meaningful to you folks, the videos? Okay, so I'll do the second.
Hi guys, I recently got my hands on GNC NeoCell Super Collagen Plus C tablets. These are the collagen supplements that I've been taking recently. GNC is an 85-year-old company which provides multivitamins and superfoods and supplements. Coming to the ingredients, it has pure collagen protein and also vitamin C which acts as an antioxidant.
I won't play the whole video, just you get the idea, right? So these are social media influencers who are talking to GNC's audience. Okay? And they are very effective in India's market. Okay? So if you have social media assets that you use in the US, you can actually transform them and just take them to India as is to start with. Because most Indians have a very favorable view of America, of American culture, of American values. So you can start with those particular assets. Okay? GNC has been in India for a number of years. So personal care in India is growing very fast. Last year it was the fastest growing personal care market in the world. So if you're in the health and beauty segment, this is the time to enter India. Okay? Overall, the economy is growing fast. It's the fastest growing major economy among the top countries. But the consumer sector is growing faster than the economy. Now, how could that be? Well, the upper middle class is growing in numbers, and their salaries and their incomes are growing as well. So it creates that virtuous spiral where the consumer market is often growing at double-digit rates, even though the economy is growing at maybe anywhere from 5 to 8 or 9% and in a very good year. But the consumer sales are growing faster than that. The sales don't spike over Christmas, they spike over Diwali, which happens in the fall. And this is really a spike that has been created by brilliant marketers. When I grew up in India, that wasn't the case, but now everybody gives gifts to one another during the Diwali season, and that accounts for a big amount of sales, particularly of imported products, because they consider premium, they're giving us gifts as well. Okay? Most of India's sales are still in traditional single mom and pop stores, but most what they call modern retail, or what we call big box, is growing dramatically, and e-commerce is growing much faster than anywhere else in the world. Okay. Indians used to be very reluctant to use debit or credit cards, they would pay cash. Okay. Through the pandemic, the government introduced a digital payment program that is now the world's largest digital payment program, far bigger than MasterCard and Visa in this country. It's unimaginable how quickly it has changed. In fact, when I go to India, nobody wants my cash anymore. Okay? Everything has become digital. So e-commerce has grown on the back of that, and on many other reasons that I won't get into. But your entry strategy into India could probably include both physical retail and e-commerce.
Gunjan, quick question.
Yes.
Yeah, is Paytm still being actively used, kind of like Alipay and all the rest?
Yeah. So yes, Paytm is a digital payment system. It is being used in India. There's been some pressure on them for the same reason we see pressure on TikTok in this country, because the largest investor in Paytm is a Chinese company. Okay. But still, it's very widely accepted, and there are many other digital payment systems, including one that the government runs, which isn't particularly popular, but there's quite a few. Okay, so moving on to nutraceuticals. This is data from the U.S. government, from the commercial service, that nutraceuticals were growing. They said that nutraceuticals were growing at over 30%. I'm thinking it's more like 20 to 25%. A little more conservative than Uncle Sam on this, okay? But still growing at fairly fast rates. And nutraceuticals have become much more popular in India through the pandemic, okay? And that popularity continues to increase. Okay? So it's a good time to take your nutraceuticals in India. We have many clients who are exhibiting here, who are in the nutraceutical sector, and we have taken them to India at various stages. Now, India is not the easiest market to enter. Okay? There are many challenges. One challenge is that it's so far away. Another challenge is that distribution historically has been very fragmented. And here's what I mean by, most people say, oh, give me one distributor in India. So let me open your eyes a little bit on that. Okay? And I see some smiling faces on that. Unilever is India's largest consumer products company. You know how many distributors they had last time I looked? 9,400. Those distributors are mostly serving micro regions within the country. Okay? Now you can't afford 9,500 or even 94 distributors in India, but very often you need more than one. Okay? Just like if you're selling into Europe, you won't have a single distributor for Sweden and Italy and Greece and Romania and so on, right? So in India, very soon after you enter, you might consider having multiple distributors. That's not unusual. It's not always the case, but it's often the case. The time zone is different, so you got to wake up early if you want to talk to people in India. If you're in California, or you've got to stay up late in the evening. Okay? Currently, the time difference this week is 13 and a half hours. Next week, because of daylight saving, it will reduce to 12 and a half hours from California. Okay? So, your Indian partner will accommodate some, but if you call them at 2 in the afternoon, your time chances are they're asleep. Right? So you have to deal with that. Okay? It is very diverse. People ask me, how does India think? And it's hard to put it in one bucket because India has pretty much every religion in the world. Okay? Hindus, Muslims, there are more Muslims in India than the entire Middle East put together. Okay? All the countries that we think about as Muslim are in the Middle East, right? Iran, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Egypt, put them all together, there's more Muslims in India. Christians, there are 25 million Christians in India, there's 25 million Sikhs and so on. So, the old way, as I said, used to be you select one distributor and you go into India. Okay? You can still do that, but we recommend many other possibilities. I'll run through some of them. Okay? So first of all, some people say, oh, India is complicated, I don't want to go there. Okay? Don't do that anymore. Okay? There's latent demand for your product. Okay? And if you're not going to go there, some brilliant Indian entrepreneur will come up with a name of a product similar to yours and start selling it. They may even trademark your own name and start selling it. Okay? You don't want that to happen. Okay? Other inventive people will go and buy an expired product from third countries and start selling them in India. So by the time you enter India at that point, people say, oh, your product didn't taste right or didn't work right because somebody had bought it through the grey market channel and started selling it. So you need to establish your footprint in India as soon as possible. Okay? This year, India's GDP will exceed that of Japan. Okay? It's already larger than UK and France. You know, India was once ruled by the UK. Now India is the largest investor in the UK and its GDP is significantly larger. Okay? So you definitely want to be in India soon. Okay. So there are many things you can do to enter India. I've listed a few of them here. Okay? You can set through multiple distributors. You can set up your own subsidiary if you're a little larger company. You can license your technology for someone in India to manufacture it. You know, there are many, many ways, and there's no one right answer. We can work with you to figure out what's the best way for you to get revenue out of India with the lowest amount of risk. That's really my company's job for the last 22 years. How to get maximum revenue with minimum risk. Now, there's always risk when you go to India, but you're all business people, you know there's always risk when you do anything. Okay? But we can help you minimize that risk. It's too big a market to ignore anymore. Okay? So one other thing that I like to check with people if you're going to enter India and you're going to sign up a new distributor, since these distributors are small, they will often need some marketing support from you. This could be simply helping them pay for some of the program on Amazon marketing, on Amazon India or other e-commerce platforms. This could be some kind of sampling program, whatever. We'll work that out, okay? But it's rare that you can succeed by simply adding a distributor like you might do in Singapore or Dubai or Hong Kong, okay? This is a large, complex market. Everybody wants to be there. The Europeans have been there for a long time. You know, the Japanese and Korean companies are there. Okay, so you got to jump in. Okay. Let me stop there. So yeah, as I said, there's no one right answer, and timing is important. If you wait another 3 or 4 years, it might be too late. That's my contact information right there. I'm happy to take any questions. And that's the most fun part of this talk for me. So please don't be shy. Yeah, that's it.
Are the trends in India similar to the trends in the US?
So the question is, are the trends in India similar to the trends in the US? Some trends can be similar, but in some ways, India is a little bit behind on things, you know. So Indians didn't used to consume olive oil at all until recently, and now it's a big craze. And my wife was just in India a few weeks ago, and everybody's asking for avocado oil, you know, which didn't exist in India. I mean, I think 2 years ago, nobody in India knew what avocado oil was, right? So in food, these trends are moving fast. In nutraceuticals, there's much more awareness of being, you know, taking preventive health measures. There's much more awareness that obesity is bad. When I was growing up in India, you know, fat was considered good. Fat and healthy were equivalent words in Hindi. Okay? And actually, it's not so unusual, even in the US. I lived in Houston for a while, and the Houston rodeo used to be called the fat beef rodeo or something until the 1960s. Okay? So this is not that we didn't have that kind of feeling in the US. So many of the trends now, because of social media, you see, Indians are consuming the same social media that we are here. Okay? And because Facebook and Twitter and WhatsApp are actually Some of these are more popular in India than in the US. Okay? So things move very quickly, particularly among the young people. Anybody under the age of 35, I routinely get inquiries from my friends, kids in India that know about things that I don't know about in the US. Okay? So yes, does that answer your question? Yeah. Okay. Somebody else had a question there?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Are they interested in like sustainability and certifications and things like that? I just wanted to know if they were interested in sustainability, so loud, and certifications and things like that.
Yeah. So I have to give a nuanced answer to that. When I moved to this country, I was surprised how much trash I created every day. Right? India has never been like that. Okay? So some of the things that we consider new in the US have been part of Indian society for years. So the idea of recycling, the idea of conserving nature, the idea of all natural. If you go to India beating your chest about that, what's the big deal? We've been doing that for 4,000, 5,000 years, right? So, you have to tailor that message in a way that appeals to the Indian audience. Okay? So if you say some of those things make the product safer for your kids, okay, that might resonate. But the simple message that you say that we are more sustainable, it's like that's what's expected in India. Okay? Does that kind of answer your question? I could talk for an hour on that subject, so I'm just trying to give you a quick answer, which is definitely not completely correct. Yes, sir.
Right, you mentioned the distribution challenge. Sometimes when I look into it, distributors are so small, you can't even find them on Google, they barely have a presence. So how do you actually tackle that and get a distributor?
Yeah, so some distributors are so small you can't even find them on Google. That is true. But what's worse is there's some very good-looking websites that you will find from India. But one thing Indians know is to create websites. Okay? No matter where you thought you paid for your website, in the back there was an Indian sitting in India doing that website. Whether you're IBM or you're creating a $500 website, right? So having a website is no good indication that a distributor is any good or not. Okay? Many distributors we've referred to for our clients don't really have good websites. Okay? Their website looks like it's 20 years old, but they are good at what they do. Okay? So that's what you want to evaluate. You can't also get a DNB report and say, I know I'm satisfied. No. We have people on the ground who can check these things. We can get the financials of any company in India. As long as they're a company, if they're sole proprietor, we can't. Okay? But if they're a corporation, and they tell you their sales are $7 million, we'll find out whether they are $7 million or $500,000 or maybe $20 million. Okay? Because we know what they're telling the government and what their relative who has a similar company is also telling the government. Okay? So we know how to deal with that. Does that help you? Yeah. Okay. Yes, sir.
How reliable is the Postal Service in India for delivering packages?
So let's talk about the reliability of the US Postal Service in 2015. Okay? It was very reliable then. India is about as reliable as that. Say right now, the Postal Service is better in India than we see here. But you will probably not be shipping your product from the US to India by mail. Okay? The direct-to-consumer business that you see in China is probably not what you will do, if that's where you were going with this.
Well, no, direct from an Indian warehouse to a customer's house.
That's extremely reliable, and most people will not use the Postal Service. The private courier, what they call courier systems, which are not really courier, just shipping services, are extremely reliable. And I'll tell you why they're reliable. When India was an all-cash society, merchants would send money in currency through these third-party services. So you're sending the equivalent of, say, $100,000, and the courier knows that that's how much money is in the bag. So security was developed for those kinds of shipments. Yeah. I think there was a question from here. I'll get to you in a moment. Yes.
Could you speak to how channel strategy is implemented in the retail space? So who plays the role of category captain in snacks or in nutraceuticals? And how is that established in retail? Are there slotting fees, for example?
Yeah, so the so-called modern retail in India, the big box retail, is still relatively new. Most of them, as they were developing in the last 20 years, hired American consultants to set up their systems, who said, yes, you should charge slotting fees, you should do this, that, and the other. All of that exists. But on top of that, each store manager has considerable leeway. So one of our clients I can talk a little bit freely about was the wonderful company with the guys who grow pistachios and almonds and so on. And they found that you could sell to the headquarters, but you also had to have people calling on the individual stores. Okay? So it's a little bit different. But again, modern retail will only be one leg of your strategy going to India today. That may change in another 5 years because those retailers are growing very fast. Okay? But still, the small mom and pop retailer in India is extremely innovative. And they don't need a computer for their inventory, they have it all in their head, literally. Okay? They can tell you exactly what's on the shelf. And they service their customers in a way that large retailers cannot. Okay? They offer credit, they're based very close to their customer, so they know the customer lost their job and so on, right? So it's a very different ecosystem. Okay, and I can take this question in more detail offline. Okay, sir.
On the topic of pricing for the supplements, are they selling at a premium price in India? Because just taking example from the GNC, I saw like 2,000 for the protein powders. Are they like compared to US? Are they selling like above like premium price or just at the regular market?
Okay, so the question is about pricing. Okay, India is people will say it's a price sensitive market. Okay? I want to say something slightly different. India is a value sensitive market. So if you are charging a premium, there has to be something that the customer values for that premium. Okay? If you sell an American product into India, okay, with transportation costs and channel fees and import duties, what sells for $1 here may end up selling for $1.80 in India. Okay? But there are people who will buy it at that price because it's worth it for them at that price. Okay? So you have to find that 1.4 billion people will not buy it. Maybe 500 million won't buy it. But if 30 million will, you still have a really good market. Right? Yeah. Okay.
Mark wants about us out there. Mark?
Yeah.
Thank you, Gunjan. Can we give Gunjan a